Hello there all, I hope everyone's doing well today. So what we'll be doing today is we'll be working on discussing putting reasons in your essay and also the rebuttal part of the paper. And we will continue working on Writing Lab 5 also over the weekend. And I will try to give brief feedback on everyone's writing labs. And I'll do my best as I can with that. I might just post on everyone's writing labs on the discussion boards and kind of give everyone a brief idea about how they're doing or if they're on the right track or what might need some improvement. And then I think I have about 11 papers left of the mapping essay to grade. And I will try to finish those on Thursday, Friday, and over the weekend as well. I'll do the best I can with that. Bear with me, I am really doing the best I can with that. So just as a note that you should be continuing to work on Writing Lab 5 over the weekend. So the Writing Lab is basically a way for you to begin process work on the research positions paper. And it will also serve as a way to begin outlining the thesis, and also we'll be going over the reasons and rebuttal today. So if you're curious about where the lesson for this Google Slides presentation can be found, all you do is go under our Comp 2 Blackboard page here, and then you're going to go under Lessons, and then you will scroll down to RPP Reasons and Rebuttal, and that's the one that I'm going over today. So let's begin with that. Okay, so items to be working on over this weekend is continuing lab work, writing lab work, draft 3 reasons and a rebuttal for the final paper. You will continue to gather materials in a portfolio document, and of course details pertaining to this can be found under the Going to Online format FAQ under the syllabus section on Blackboard for details. You will also continue to revise past papers for resubmission and catch up as soon as possible, since we are now down to a week left of class officially. And then we will begin drafting for the paper next Tuesday. So here's the schedule of what it looks like for next week. And as you can see, we'll begin drafting next Tuesday. And then on Thursday, we'll be talking about quotation sandwiches and doing like a quick review of that. But today, I will be going over reasons supporting claim and the rebuttal. Okay, so this is a quick review on logos and how to place reasons within the final paper. So the first thing that you should be doing for invention of how to place reasons within your paper and like the supporting evidence within your paper is list the values of each audience and construct a reason that appeals to those values. So you will begin your paragraph by stating your reason in the topic sentence, as always, and then next explain your reason fully in 3 to 5 sentences, and you will explain your reason by telling us what you mean. After you make these moves, you are ready to put quotations in your paragraph that prove your reason to be true. You may want to start a new paragraph at this time. So the first thing that you do, this is just an example, is list the values of the audience. So let's say I've been working with the topic of euthanasia. Let's say I've decided to make the claim that congressional lawmakers should work to pass the legislation that allows physician-assisted death. And again, this is just an example. So then you need a reason that appeals to these values of lawmakers. So here's an example supporting legal rights. Doctors have a right to treat their patients as they see fit. So then that is supported by that position. Congressional lawmakers should work to pass legislation that allows physician-assisted death. And of course, this kind of leaves your reader wondering, well, why? And then you explain why. Is because doctors have a right to treat their patients as they see fit. And then we will work to prove these reasons in this lesson. So here's an example here. So from there, they go on to explain their reasoning, and like they have backing support, which is definitely something that you want to make sure you have. It is clear that the relationship between doctors and patients is personal and should be respected. There are some rights that we would not want doctors to have, such as freely prescribing pills. Obviously, we will need to trust doctors to make the best judgments when it comes to their patients. Medical care practitioners understand that pills are not effective and do not provide a quality of life for a terminally ill patient. Remember, it is a patient's choice to make a decision on assisted suicide. Patients are choosing not to continue to take opiates. More supporting detail if needed. And again, this is just an example. So in order to, definitely would recommend continuing from Writing Lab 5, and it's okay to expand upon the document over the weekend, and I will try to provide at least brief feedback, hopefully by next week, if I can pull that off between papers and meetings and everything else, but we'll see how I can hopefully at least provide some brief feedback over the weekend, kind of give you a thumbs up or tell you if those reasons need better support. I can at least try to provide some brief feedback, and I probably will just do that through the discussion board, so make sure to get your writing lab in by Thursday at midnight, please, because I probably will try to start providing feedback on Friday if I can pull that off. And of course, I will do my best to do that. So, anyways, you want to construct 3 reasons that appeal to those values, and then list and describe 3 reasons that tell the audience why they should do as you are asking them to do. Okay, so for the next part of this video, I'm going to be talking about the rebuttal. So I'm going to be going over the guidelines here. And just to remind you all, once you have like the main part of the paper done, there will be a separate part of the paper included after. So what I mean by this is that you have to address at least one extended counter-argument to some part of your argument. You may choose a hypothetical naysayer or a real opponent found in an outside source. Make sure you share your opponent's position accurately, make any necessary concessions, and then offer your own rebuttal. So what I mean by this, and I'm going to go over the research position paper sample here real quick, and just sort of remind you all what it looks like. And again, you're welcome to look at it at your own leisure. It's on Blackboard under assignment information. So, okay, so this is the main part of the paper. This is the introduction where it is, and the body paragraphs, and then they have the conclusion as normal. And then there's an additional section here called rebuttal. And that's going to be the part that I was just reading, is addressing at least one extended counter-argument to some part of your argument. So they have an example here of a counter-argument to abortion. And you're welcome to look at it. The rebuttal is not that long. It's about probably a page and a half. So in addition to the 4 to 5 pages, you will want to include the rebuttal in that, and also a works cited page. Please make sure you have a works cited page and in-text citation, because those are points included in the rubric, and we will especially be I will especially be looking for a works cited page and in-text citations, especially in the final paper. It's kind of a required part of Comp 2 is making sure all students can sort of do those things. So anyways, you can look at the rebuttal. So basically this is a rebuttal about abortion, because they talk about abortion in the sample paper here. But I also have another example that I'll be going over within the PowerPoint. So if you want to look at the sample and sort of take a look at it, you're welcome to take a look at the sample anytime. As I said, it's under assignment information. It's under the final research positions paper. And the sample is right here. But anyways, I want to return back to the PowerPoint and go over that today. And finish with the PowerPoint. Okay, so this is the part about rebuttal. And it also talks about beginning drafting. Okay, so in a nutshell, you want to have a claim, action plus audience, and three total reasons and a rebuttal. So that's a total of 4 rhetorical moves. Okay, so the rebuttal. How do I know who the naysayer should be? You want to fully describe, name, and acknowledge the naysayer, outline their position, their claims and reasons accurately and fairly, in a neutral manner, so that you should be doing in a neutral manner. And then you want to become an insider by stating common ground or by making a concession. And then you want to start bringing your own opinion into it and going, okay, how are they wrong-headed? How might they benefit from seeing it your way? So, the rebuttal paragraph, in other words, is a counterclaim. You will paraphrase or cite from your opponent's view of the text. You will locate common ground by connecting with audience, values, language, or types of people. You will consider making a concession by agreeing to some small point your naysayer has made, and then write a rebuttal by showing how the naysayer argument is weak in your own words. So here's an example. And this is an example claim here. The state of New York should ban plastic straws in all restaurants and stores. So restaurant owners are likely to disagree that banning straws would help protect the environment. Obviously, restaurant owners should have a certain stake in this debate because they value sales and profits. Their business will be majorly affected by this change. These people are mostly claiming that the ban on straws will be a financial burden on their business, especially for very small businesses. So this is where you're supposed to paraphrase or cite. I come from a working class family myself and know how hard it can be to make ends meet. It can be hard to care about the environment when you are struggling to feed a family. The main concern and focus is on pricing when the bottom line matters. And then you start leading into your own words. What these people are missing, however, is that we live in an interconnected world. The trash one person in Africa dumps can end up on the US coast, threatening sea life. In fact, NPR correspondent Chris Thatcher recently reported incidents of sea turtles with hardened plastic straws in their noses, and coral reefs have been dying. I have to say, if a restaurant owner is worried about money, they should be on board with this idea. Seafood pound for pound has risen in price steadily, becoming more and more expensive in the last 10 years. The point is that in an interconnected and global world, requires an interconnected perspective. So that's when they sort of bring it into their own words, what the counter argument is. And then they talk about an expert that has talked about that topic specifically, and they paraphrase from that topic. And then finally, they sort of make concessions and address the other side. And of course, one thing that you should also be doing within this paper is making quotation sandwiches And this is just a quote sandwich review because it's things that we have discussed before. I think I have discussed quotation sandwiches in the mapping review invention. So for every reason you will give, you will have to make certain you can prove it is true. You will need to find a source to support what it is you are saying in your reasoning. So here's an example. College professors should stage a walkout because the presence of guns on campus, contributes to more violence on campus. So then you want a quotation sandwich, a quote sandwich for a source that proves guns on campus equals violence. Okay, so the quotation sandwich includes an introduction or lead-in that should explain who is speaking and set up what the quotation says. The follow-up statement should explain why you consider the quotation to be important and what you take it to say. So first you will introduce. This is the moment where you elevate your speaker. You will need to highlight their ethos. And then you quote via MLA parenthetical citation style, in-text citations. And then you respond to the quote by explaining the author's point, showing the reader what the author is saying, elaborating on the main idea. And then you tie the source to your own claim and reason. Students do this by pointing how the evidence source supports the writer's own argument. Okay, so here's another example, and this is a sample rebuttal paragraph on the presence of guns on campus contributes to more violence on campus. So then they sort of describe some background information on it. It is common sense that the presence of guns on campus will lead to more campus violence, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. Navy SEALs Admiral William H. McRaven was integral in the capture of bin Laden and now serves as the chancellor of the University of Texas system. No one could understand guns and violence better than him. In fact, McRaven recently stated in the New York Times, "I'm a guy who loves my guns. The issue of guns on college campuses is a different ballgame, though. I don't think bringing guns on campus is going to make any of us safer," and that's a direct quote. And you want to make sure you have your in-text citations for that. Otherwise, you can get in a bit of trouble for plagiarism. So then they describe the Admiral's point is that gun restriction does not have to mean constitutional restriction, and that the simple presence of guns does not necessarily correlate to safety. From McRaven's comments, it is easy to see how much some people value the constitutional right to conceal and carry, and yet they don't even support the measured carry on campuses. This unique perspective shows that even gun owners themselves are not even on board with bringing guns to college. So this is some things that you want to start working on. Might even want to consider doing within your writing lab this weekend. So just to clarify, what's due on Thursday by midnight is just your thesis statement in the writing lab and answering those questions that are already in the discussion board that I talked about on Tuesday. So if you need a refresher or sort of revisitation on that, I would recommend going back under the video tab on Blackboard and watching that video. And then this is what you should be doing over the weekend. So this is what you want to be working on over the weekend, is sort of expanding upon your Writing Lab 5 and sort of starting to answer these questions, or at least start thinking about this. So you should be formulating a working claim, and what you should begin over the weekend as constructing 3 working reasons. And place your reason in a topic sentence and follow it with 3 to 7 sentences that adequately explain your reasoning. It should also note exceptions to the logic and provide adequate backing. See slides for examples. Provide 1 of 3 sources that prove your reason true. Quotation sandwiches are needed. And then repeat steps 3, 4, and 5 with all reasons. And then you will draft a rebuttal that follows all 4 moves. And that is it. So again, this is what you should be working on over the weekend here. Is continuing writing lab work, draft 3 reasons, and a rebuttal for final paper that I have now went over and discussed in detail. And now you will continue to gather materials in a portfolio document, which is something that you should be doing right along, and then continue to revise past papers for resubmission if needed, and catch up as soon as possible because we are now down to a week left of class. And we will begin drafting for the paper next Tuesday, and it might be a good thing to start sort of working on, even if it's just a sort of a bit of a plan for yourself, even if it's just writing a paragraph per day over the weekend. That will get you a head start for drafting next Tuesday. Anyway, I think that's it. I think I have gone over all the things here. And of course, as always, you can find the syllabus right here. And the syllabus schedule is right here, but I actually have a screenshot of the schedule right here. And this is pretty much what the last week of class will look like. Or at least the next few days. Anyway, I think that's it. If you all have any questions, you can, of course, email me over the course of the weekend. I'll definitely highly recommend if you need extra help with, even with drafting, outlining, or your papers, even with revising past papers, you can always get a writing tutor's help. In fact, I will even pull up the document here for going to online format and sort of just give a quick couple of closing reminders here. Okay, so one thing I do want to talk about is where the portfolio information is. And that is in this document going to online format FAQ, which is actually under syllabus and textbook info on Blackboard. And here is the information right here. What does this mean for final portfolios? And I also have a list of how you should be organizing your portfolio document, and it should just be one Google document that you're going to turn in for your portfolio. And this is how you should be organizing the document. And lastly, but not least, this is important too. If you need extra help or tutoring, here are the steps that you can take from the Learning Center. What if I want to make an appointment with a tutor? All you do is log into Starfish and follow these directions. You just click on this link here to make an appointment with a peer tutor. So different ways that tutors can help you. You can have a GoBoard web-based meeting space. You can even talk to them over phone or email if you need extra help with any paper that you might need help with. In case I might not be available, I definitely recommend emailing the Learning Center. And you can also even email Beth Lisi or Janelle Gray. They will help get you started. And even if you need an appointment to help with study skills, you can definitely log into Starfish and make an appointment for that. So anyways, I think that's it. Again, I hope you all have a great day, have a great weekend. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy, and have a great day. Thank you.